My name is Wendell Coffin. I have lived on Fogo Island for a part of my life. I was born on Fogo Island and I lived here until I was in grade 4.
I'm Sidney Coffin. I was born on November 28, 1936, in a place called Jobatsam on Fogo Island. I lived there until I received an education and then went teaching.
Shirley Freak, Jobatsam. I don't know what to say. I know it's boring for me. There's nowhere to go now. We had bingo once. You always get out to something. Now there's nothing to go to.
Now, Fogo Island today has changed a lot from what it was back then.
Because we had no communications then, even with the island, with the Fogo Island itself.
I was probably 18 years old before I went to Tilting Harbour, which is only about 6 kilometers from here. You were in your own community, you wanted to go anywhere, you walked. Winter time it was either by horse or dog sled. Other than that, you were isolated to your own community.
The Americans had a base, an army base on Fogo Island, a place called Telting, Sandy Cove, Telting. During the year, the 10 months we were at school, the Jeep that the Americans were driving would come up to Jobatsam from Telting. And when the sound of the Jeep was heard, all the students would get up, and the teacher too would encourage it. We'd jump up, we'd all run to the window to see this Jeep going along and making all kinds of noise and thumping over the rocks, the little road that was there. And that was the only other thing on 4 wheels that we had seen now.
It was basically 2 religions. It was the Catholic school and the Protestant. The 2 religious groups got along. There was never any problems.
The only time there would be any friction would be probably at weddings or when people was made home brew and they drank probably a little bit too much and they'd meet and then they'd fight over girls or whatever.
I don't think there was any distinction between groups. Everyone was basically the same back in those days. They were all fishermen. Most of them were very poor. You went to church with the family every Sunday. Not only once, you went around 8 o'clock in the morning, then there was another service at 11. Then you went to Sunday school in the evening, and you were expected to go back to church again in the night. My grandmother, she peeled her vegetables on Saturday evening because she wouldn't do it on a Sunday. She wouldn't throw water out to the door on Good Friday because that was throwing water in our Lord's face. You know, it's religion was part of their life.
I didn't know nothing about electricity. We was all. We had a lamp upstairs, one downstairs.
The electricity in the store called Earl's store, they had a generator there that they would start up the generator and produce lights for the store, and the lights were on, and there was the excitement of all that.
These different families had their own generator. Like my family, the Coffins, they had their own generator that supplied 4, 5, 6 houses.
But then we got the flush toilets then, the flush toilet. Well, my God, never seen one of them before. And then I gets in there, one day I'm in there and I blocks the toilet. Well, I'm telling you that something like that. And you flush as well and this bloody thing is coming up. I said, boy, God, it's not going to stay there, is it? Well, you know, there's little things like that. I mean, if you were used to that, you wouldn't mind it. I mean, the plunger is a thing to do. But now with the things that would shake you right. Yeah. When I was about, I'd say about 8 year old, Father and they would be mending their knits in a 2-story building, the big store. Just a square hole in the ceiling. That square hole was used for hauling the linnet, they call it, the nets up through and down through, whatever. And there was a ladder over here that you went up. And I went down and went up the ladder and fell back and broke my leg. Here I was hanging with the legs up through the rungs of the ladder. Abel jumped down through that hole and went over and got me unhooked and took me in the arms and took poor Sidney up to the house. Now, they rigged up this little bed out in the kitchen. And that's where I stayed to with the broken leg until the doctor happened to be back to the island. The only way the doctor could get on the island, if it was in the summer, he got by a boat. And it wasn't a boat owned by the government, it was owned by some individual from wherever the doctor was. It was by boat or in the wintertime by horse team. And when he was not on the island, and most times they weren't on the island. And the people that helped out after the doctor, there was no doctor, there would be midwives. And they basically, if you cut your finger, well, there was Mrs. Aunt so-and-so.
There was no hospital when some of the, you know, when some my brothers was born, because they were born in house with a midwife. We were down the cove, we'd go up in the harbour and get a woman, she'd come down, the baby'd be born in house.
The other communities had not seen them, no communication with us at all. So you could imagine then, for me, what a shock it was to get off the train in St. John's and then go and find a boarding house.
Oh, well, it was just the same as if you moved to New York City. I mean, everything was that big and different, and I'd never seen a school bus before.
When I left Fogo in 1956 to go to university, the style then for men was the wide, the pants, the wide, real floppy pants in front, and I'd be walking down this fairly large street, and on the corner where I had to make the turn would be always those 2 or 3 St. John's or townies they were. And they'd see me coming with the pants flipping back and forth. And I could see them laughing before I came up. They were waiting for me to come down in the corner now. They're going to make the turn. Well, my God, I said, there. I guess that it gets along there. And I walked up and forth up to the university. And so that was the shock. And
Just unbelievable, even school itself. I mean, going from a small school, really, of maybe a couple hundred people to a school that had 600 or 700. There's a big difference. A school that had a gym, had science, had physics classes and chemistry and that type of stuff, whereas here on the island, I mean, they just did general science. My father was a supervisor with the Veterans Land Act, and he was there for 6 years, and he got killed in an industrial accident. And my mom and myself, we came back to Joe Bat's Army, and that's where I stayed to until I finished grade 11. Climate change in my lifetime, I have seen, it's just unbelievable. Winters were much the same as on the Labrador coast. Ponds would freeze over as early as October. By January and February, if you look out through the harbour, there was ice as far as the eye can see. And today it's all ice-free. We have very little snow, not enough really for canoes. But ocean seems to be rising a lot higher, the high tides, than when I was a child. We definitely have more wind.
I suppose life we thought was good till we got, get everything out like it is now. Children got better now than ever we had.
Times are better now. Times are better now, even with all the, problems we have in the world. I think it's a matter of our accepting what we have by comparing it with, like for example, with health. I am better now to receive help that I need in health, I need any type of medical. I can get it now, but I couldn't get it back then. So right now, mother would still be alive if she was born in this particular age as opposed to that particular age.
If you come in here with boatloads of fish, it's not easy cleaning that fish. I mean, it's back-breaking work. It's dirty work. It's tiresome work.
Brownhead was a high piece of land close to the water, and the wind was always around. It was windy there, and the water was usually rougher there. And we'd go down there to haul our cod trap. The deckers, they were basically waiting for the tide to slack in the same area, and two of them, if not three, I don't know, can't remember correctly, went ashore just to see what the land was, and went up on the side of the cliff. And while they were there, they walked so close to the edge that the edge of the cliff gave way, and one of the men went down and got killed with the rocks. What year that was, I wouldn't know. But it was an accident that was caused because they were down there fishing and because they were waiting for the tide to slack, and this caused the death of that particular person.
Now, I think that their leisure time was probably better than what it is today, because there was more interaction with the family. You didn't have any cell phones taking the attention of everyone. There was more playing of games as a family, not only as a family, within the communities itself.
But we always think about the good old days, but the good old days weren't always as good as, there was no doubt there was pleasant moments and high moments, but I give more positivity to the way we're living now than it was then, even though we want more stuff. I mean, we want bigger cars, we want bigger houses, but back then we were satisfied with a roof over our head. But it doesn't mean that we were better off.
The old way of living is lost now. I mean, we're gone into a time of where the world has grown small. When I grew up as a kid on Fogo Island, the only thing about the rest of the world I knew was something you read in school, that Bunge lived in Africa. I mean, and today, if something goes on in Korea, like the curling is going on there now, and I'm watching it live. Years ago, when I was growing up, we didn't even know what curling was. You know, and everyone got cell phones and can travel at high speeds. Everything is fast. It's just unbelievable. That's the future. We've lost everything in the past.